Alright guys, welcome to, I don't know what this is going to be. It's sort of a news thing, sort of a commentary, but recently the Hartmans, the original BotCon showrunners, started uploading footage from, well, so far it's just been the first BotCon 94. And as you can see here, or as you just saw on the marquee, we had the Generation 2 Autobot and Decepticon logos, but unfortunately they were upside down. Now this is not intentional, because as you may know, the Decepticons in the original Robots in Disguise used a upside down Autobot symbol. Although I don't think any fiction has ever used the upside-down Decepticon symbol as anything. But nonetheless, yeah, the Hartmans gave the logos to the Grand Wayne Center, which is where BotCon 94 was held, and unfortunately they put them in upside down. Although I'm still impressed that you can apparently have images in a marquee like that, but that, that's beside the point. So basically just going to narrate through the video somewhat and just kind of grab some facts from the wiki as I go through. But as we saw in the previous clip, it looked like there's the line to get in. Right now it looks like we're looking at what was probably the dealer room. It would have been nice if the Hartmans narrated this themselves, could speak to what's going on, because they were actually there and they ran the whole thing. Now this here looks to be the registration desk, and let me grab some facts from the registration, or just what was there, the merchandise. So, first off, we had the Generation 2 version of the Stunticon Breakdown. Yes, the G2 Breakdown that kind of became a little bit overplayed by BotCon in the later years, but this is where it all started from. Apparently Hasbro gave the Hartmans the choice of any of the canceled G2 combiner figures from the Protectobots and the Stunticons, and apparently it was down to between Blades and Breakdown, and ultimately they went with Breakdown, obviously. Now looks like we're on to the collection room, so I'm just gonna keep going on about the convention itself while you look at all the toys. So, in addition to the G2 Breakdown, they also had shirts at the show. They had red and purple shirts featuring the G2 faction logos, and the name and location of the convention as well. So, even back then they had exclusive shirts. In addition, all pre-registrants received an individually numbered badge and button set, and a 12-page official program guide. So, if you're watching the what I assume was the registration desk, it looked like people might have had that in their hands there. As for guests, because even the original show had guests, they had two Hasbro employees: marketing director Tom Bowman and product manager Carl Fritz. So, no voice actors or anything like that to speak of. For presentations, they had a foreign toys presentation, which was put on by fan Tony Preto. I think I might be pronouncing that correctly. But he held a foreign toys panel focusing on various toys released only in Japan. So what I'm assuming was stuff like from Headmasters and Victory and stuff like that, which apparently was virtually unknown in the North American fandom at the time. I guess the internet wouldn't have been widely popular at the time, so yeah, I guess that makes sense. They also had a Hasbro presentation, even back then. They had a Hasbro panel at BotCon. The Hasbro guests, Tom and Carl, presented the upcoming 94 and 95 products. So they had Dreadwing and Smokejumper. They had the Super Speed Bots. Now let me just check out what these Super Speed Bots are. Oh, there's Spy Changers. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, they're basically what the Spy Changers became. So they had Gearhead, Double Clutch, High Beam, Firecracker, Motormouth, and Blowout. Basically, Spy Changers. And they had the Speedbot Racing Rig, which is apparently was going to be a redeco. I'm trying to quickly navigate through the wiki, but yeah, apparently it was Grease Pit, but in all clear. So this may have been something that was, yeah, okay. Yeah, I think, yeah, this was something that was cancelled. As well, they had the Cyberjets, so Skyjack, Space Case, Hooligan. They had Power Master's Bullet Bike. Who was Bullet Bike? I have no idea who this is. Okay, apparently that's a Power Master? I think the generation... Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember now. The Generation 2 Power Masters are different from, like, the Power Masters that we know. Basically, the G2 Power Masters were these pullback toys. You know, toys that you get, like, at the dollar store where you pull them back and then they zoom forward and stuff like that. So... let me see. Where's oh, okay, that's Ironhide. Okay. So they had for the Power Masters, they had Bike Bullet, Ironhide, Mean Streak, and Stax. What is Stax? It's funny how some of these guys just have quotation marks in their names and some don't. Yeah. Sorry, I was just checking out some of these Power Masters and they're pretty funky. But yes, let's continue with the Hasbro stuff. Okay, so in addition to the Power Masters, they had the Light Cycles, Road Rocket and Road Pig. They had the Auto Rollers, Dirtbag and Roadblock. And they had Optimus Prime Octane, described as having the laser rod feature and shipping in the spring of 1995. So I'm pretty sure this is just Laser Rod Optimus Prime. Which is kind of funny because didn't we just get a Optimus Prime that is a repaint of Octane? That's funny. Well, it's new packaging, which had a line at the bottom to clearly, so you can clearly tell what subline it is. They also had real action pop-ups 3D transforming card game. Okay, that looks terrible. Let's see, what else do we got in the notes? So the genesis of the convention came from when John and Carl wanting to somehow celebrate the 10th anniversary of the franchise. Makes sense. Transformers started in 84, BotCon 94, 10 years, math works out. The name BotCon, in case you didn't know, was coined by John and was meant to convey both a shortening of the phrase robot convention, so took the butt end of robot in the first part of convention, and as well as Autobot and Decepticon, so BotCon, BotCon. It was also Hasbro's Carl Fritz who suggested picking from the... Okay, yeah. So we already talked about it. It was Carl Fritz who suggested picking from the G2 combiner toys for the exclusive. Apparently John and Carl did not receive many pre-registrants inquiring until a few weeks before the convention itself. This almost led to the cancellation of the show due to a perceived lack of interest. So, that we can parlay that into a little side thing here. Registration for TFCon 2018, the US show in Chicago, is now open. You can get your tickets for TFCon Chicago 2018. Buy it now. Don't wait till 2 weeks before the show, like apparently everybody in 1994 did. So make sure you go and do that now if you're interested in doing that. I might make the trek down to the US. Maybe. I don't know. But back to 1994's BotCon. Not much else to say. We already talked about the G2, Decepticon, and Autobot logos being upside down on the marquee. And, oh yeah. So, just prior to the convention, the two Hasbro employees, as well as John and Carl, had lunch together, where the Hasbro employees revealed the existence of the Rockbots, or what was going to be the Rockbots. Apparently, these were not like the Rock Lords, but were instead a guitar and an amplifier that turned into robot mode and had some type of like hair, like you'd have on like a Barbie doll. So, yeah. And I guess they were homaged in the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. It was the one where they took a bunch of Fall of Cybertron toys and painted them up as like a rock band. And apparently in the fiction, the Rockbots opened for them, like they were the opening act. But yeah, that's kind of weird. But yeah, that is basically BotCon 94. It was held on July 16th, 1994 in Fort Wayne, Indiana at the Grand Wayne Center by the original John and Carl Hartman. And I think I have talked about as much as I can about BotCon 1994 as this video will let me. So until next time, guys, I'm just gonna let this play out, and I will see you, well, not at BotCon, possibly at TFCon, but I will see you next time. Till then.